Hey guys, it's me again. I'm what used to be Sky, and allow me to inform y'all about the issue going on in Hong Kong, China. You understand me? You feel me?
I
That's
feel
that's good. All right. So, here's what's happening. I'm going to give you a little background on this. All right? Hong Kong, former British colony, all right? But the Brits were like, "Hey, China, you can have Hong Kong back." And that was in 1987. But they were like, hold on. Hold your horses, communist China. You. Mom, I did not ask you.
Everybody is kung fu fighting.
Alright, so 1997. That's the year. I was wrong, but that's your fault. I blame only you. So, 1997. Britain's like, okay, you can have it back, but give the people some rights, alright? For at least 50 years. 50 years was the duration of the treaty. They're like, give the people basic rights and give Hong Kong autonomy, an autonomous government. So China's like, they want to get their little grubby little hands all over Hong Kong, but it's too early. This is like, what, 2012? So China's in 2012, they're like trying to get their little grubby little hands all over Hong Kong and then grease it up like Michael when he's holding a steamed chicken. They're getting a Hong Kong all greasy, and the people of Hong Kong are like, stop that, dude. Hey, not cool, bro. So they go out in the streets, they start protesting. The Hong Kong government, they're like, thumbs down. So they send out the riot police. Then the protesters are like, you know what I'm saying?
bruh, 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 bruh.
So the protesters are like, okay, we're just gonna fight you guys then, and then they attack each other with fatality. There are a bunch of casualties going on in there, bunch of them. All right, so that keeps this conflict is ongoing. They're still fighting, right? To this day, the most recent uh act against Hong Kong and China is when a bill passed to allow Hong Kong criminals to be extradited and tried in China. Now, that means that Hong Kong's government is no longer autonomous because they're relying on the Chinese government. And that's against the treaty. So the people of Hong Kong are like, nah, bruh. Nah. So the government was like, man, these guys are kind of hurting my feelings. And then they start crying like that, right? So the Hong Kong officials, specifically the leader Carrie Lam, suspend the bill indefinitely. So that's what's going on in Hong Kong. So in Litchfield, there's no way these tiny little islands in the little goblin hole in China. There's no way these islands are gonna affect us. What is he gonna do? Wrong. The treaty that China made with Britain when they ceded when they got that piece of land, that little sweet little morsel, little Hong Kong over there, that little you know, that is a very it's a solid treaty. Like it's not as bad as a war crime, but it's up there. It's up there. All right. So they're like, that's an international crime. You can't be breaking that treaty. So if the UN gets involved, tensions between the US and China are already so high, this could spark a war, dude. World War III. And now we got our little Litchfield, little man over here, little Mikey. He's gonna get drafted into the army. And he's gonna get deployed into Hong Kong, a big boy war zone. And so that's how it could affect us up in here. Now, on the US, this is easier. The US is directly or indirectly involved with this issue. England is our close good friend. All right, we're good pals with the British people. So when the British people are like, "Hey, dude, hey, can you cool it over there with the human rights violations and stuff?" Like, then the U.S. is gonna be like, "Hey, cool it over with the human violations and stuff," and then China's like, "No,
Betrayal.
we're gonna be like, I'm gonna send at least 3 guys to look at you while you commit these acts against humanity, right? Crimes against humanity. They're gonna have some guys looking at them because that's how the UN works, right? So that's how the U.S. could be affected by the U.S. Now the whole world. Let's say World War III gets sparked. It's World War, not Michael War, not Shantytown, not Cleveland, Ohio War. You understand me? This is the big old globe, the flat one. Now, currently in the U.S., not much is being done. I will be honest. There's a lot of people who could be doing something in our government that are just sitting there like, oh, what we need to do is we need to, take some more action. Sure, we got a few civilian protests going on in the streets, but they're just kind of sitting. They're like little pieces of dirt on the ground of a Walmart, right? They're just sitting there. Nobody's gonna sweep them up. Nobody's gonna address it. So they just walk right past them. Nah. What we need to get somebody who actually cares about Hong Kong and, humanitarian crises, and get them to be like, hey, dude, hey, guys up in hey, big fat cats like Garfield who live in the Oval Office. Hey, Garfield, you want to go help out those Hong Kong guys over there that are probably British or something? And then the fat cat Garfield's like, I hate Monday. And then he goes and kills China, right? That's how that's what we should do in the US. Globally, I don't know, like have some countries like actually look over in that direction. They're like trying to kind of like, guys, China's not real. I got big news for you. China's real. I know, all right? Listen, controversial, but it is. All right? So, hey, countries that are in the UN and that should be directly involved with this issue, can you go be in the UN and be directly involved in this issue? Thank you. That easy. Right? So, people are just kind of sitting around. They're like, okay, I'm pretty sure like 1 or 2 countries, I think at least England has been like, hey, China, you better cool it over there. Then they just didn't do anything about it. Then they just let the people handle it. All right, I'm going to hit you guys with a knowledge bomb right now. All right, you're never going to believe this. It's going to blow your minds. Your tiny little, I'm not going to insult you right now, but they're kind of little baby brains, all right? So your baby brains can understand, all right? So, China, they are cracking down way harder on the protests than they have been since around 2014 when the protests started. It's getting worse and worse for the protesters. Now, it's gone to the point where the protesters no longer ask for change in the Chinese communist takeover. They just want to keep their rights as protesters. So they're asking for their the protests and demonstrations to not be classified as riots, which they currently are by the Chinese government, so they can't have as much massive violent backlash as they had. There's an 18-year-old teenager who's been shot lethally at close range during one of the protests. That's not great. All right, that's not good. You shouldn't be dying in a protest. All right, it's not Tiananmen Square over here. All right, so here's what I'm going to tell you. China better cut that out before I come over there. All right, I'm going to come back. Okay, I'll go back.
Betrayal.
Yeah. I know you're scared, China.